Hello, welcome to Todd Miller TV, joined here today with Oana. Okay, I read an article today that was on the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
And it was about how there's a difficult time, it's difficult to get houses. So one of the things that they're saying that's a good technique is to write a letter, like a pretty please letter, to the seller to try to make your case for them to pick your offer over other offers. So we all know that absent of knowing anything about the buyers, the sellers tend to pick what kind of offer. If you don't know anything about the buyers, which offer does the seller typically take?
The highest net for the seller.
Highest net for the seller with the best terms
Yes.
that can close in a reasonable
Yes.
time and that they believe will actually close, right? Okay. Well, in this article, in this case, that the buyer didn't do that. He intentionally admitted that the seller said he picked an article or he picked a buyer because of the letter he wrote, not because of the amount. So here's part of the problem. In the letter he wrote, my wife and I she's pregnant, we're expecting a kid, we want to have a family, we see you have a family, we're like you, we both have families, our kids will play in the same places your kids played, and we want you to take our offer over everybody else's. Is there a potential problem with that?
Okay. So if this is between buyer and seller, it's all fair in love and war. However, when you're dealing with, when you're choosing an offer based on somebody's familial status, meaning whether they've got kids or they're married or not married, when you're choosing an offer based on their race, their religion, I think the opportune words are fair housing violations.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Fair housing violation.
So, that's a really a very treacherous thing to do, and I don't recommend it. Yes, I mean, look, we all want to position ourselves to get that house, okay?
Okay.
I have taken buyers with me when I present an offer to a seller when I'm representing the buyer, because I know that my buyer is charming and he'll be able to charm the seller and maybe we'll get our offer accepted. And I get that, okay? I totally get that. But as a seller, when you are discriminating against someone else because they're not like you, they're not the same race as you, they don't have the same familial status as you, they don't have the same religion as you, now you're discriminating against protected classes, and you are opening yourself up to more liability than it's worth for you to have the warm and fuzzies that someone just like you just bought your house.
So essentially, those people who submitted better offers, more money, better terms and everything, were discriminated against because they didn't have kids, or they didn't state that they had kids.
Well, they weren't discriminated against because they didn't have kids, because we don't know if they did or not.
Right.
But, if they had also written a letter saying, hey, I am a single person of this, orientation, and the people went, oh, they're not like us, we would not sell to somebody of that race, that religion, that familial status, that sexual orientation.
Right. Okay.
Now you've got a problem.
Okay. So I went to, if you go to HUD.gov and you type in fair housing, you can read all the fair housing laws. But I'll spare you, and I'll tell you what the federal ones are. These are the federal ones. Race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and handicap. Can't discriminate against any of those. Now, depending on what state you're in, there are some other ones that apply. For example, we have some extra ones here in Nevada. One of them is sexual orientation. Okay, can't discriminate based on sexual orientation in Nevada. Other states you may be able to because it's not federal. And what it says in there, Juan, it's really interesting. It says that neither a buyer nor a seller can advertise nor take any action to use any of these to discriminate for or against somebody. So the buyer, in theory, and this was a home that was listed in an MLS,
Right.
and once you list in an MLS, fair housing applies to you no matter what. So if you hire a real estate agent, no matter what, fair housing, if you're a buyer or seller, it applies to you. So the buyer, in theory, is sending a letter saying, hey, I have kids, please take my deal. The seller's stating publicly in this Wall Street Journal article, oh yeah, sure, we had all these really offers that were more, but they had kids and we like people with kids, so we accepted their offer. And I don't know that anything. If I was one of the other people, I'd probably be upset. I'd be like, hey, wait a minute. So because I maybe didn't have kids, or you didn't know, you didn't take my offer, even though it was a better deal.
What if I had more kids? Wait a minute. I didn't know that kids were a prerequisite to me buying your house.
Right. So and the problem is this article's been out there. Thousands of people have probably read it. Not one person has said, hey, wait a minute. I think I'm the first person. Because I sent an email to the author, and she's like, oh, that's an interesting point. And I'm like, seriously? That's an interesting point? No, it's a federal law violation. You can't do that. So anyway, yes, we have very low inventory in most of the country. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult, and people are having to do out-of-the-box things to get an offer accepted.
That's right.
I don't know if I personally, as a listing agent or representing a buyer, would advise my client to step into the realm of a fair housing violation. However benign that may seem, and I know, you show the house, the people get to see who you are, they remember that. We have no idea that they later on say, oh, I remember those people that came by, I'm not going to sell to them, I'll just reject their offer and make up some excuse. But when you go on Wall Street Journal to a reporter and say, yeah, we took their offer because of a protected status and restricted other people, that's probably not a good idea.
No, it's not. And it's not worth it. Pick the offer that best works for you, and I think that's the most fair thing to do. And remember, you would not want to be discriminated against on the other side either. You would not want someone to not buy your house because of your familial status. You wouldn't want to be deprived of other services either out there in the world. So treat others the way you'd want to be treated. Be fair.
I can imagine if the people that sold the house moved to another house somewhere, and the people said, well, you have kids, and we don't want to sell the house to somebody who has kids, they'd probably be really upset with that.
Yes.
So it would be a violation of fair housing if they did that.
That's right.
More likely. Okay. All right. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you. That's my update for today, and hope to see you on another video. Thanks.